with a girl there. So, here we are. We're in Spain, and if there is one thing in Spain you have to try, it has to be jamón, the jamón. So let me explain what jamón is, because this video is going to be just all about jamón, where to get it, how you get it, and how you eat it, okay? Jamón is embedded in Spanish cuisine, all throughout Spanish cuisine, whether it's bits of cubed jamón, the offcuts from the bone, whatever it may be, or the prime cuts as is, just as it's sliced off the bone. As you can see, I've shown you some footage of how they slice it. They have this awesome rack. They put the leg in there. They've got a thin knife, like a special filleting knife. They've got tweezers, and they take the tweezers and they put it on the plate. So we are here in Seville, the Triana market, or Mercado de Triana. A lot of locals come here to shop for their produce, for their jamón, for their fish, but we've come here to show you the different types of jamón, because when you go to different bars and restaurants, they generally have the main jamón, which is the mid-range, palatable, the mid-range, affordable jamón in most restaurants and tapas places, because at the end of the day, the average person just wants a good jamón. So let me explain to you the different type, what jamón is, first and foremost. They take a pig, they put him out in the pasture, they eat grass, they eat bugs, they do the nose thing in the soil, and they eat acorns, olives, and nuts, whatever grows there, but mostly a special type of acorn. But there's different grades of jamón, and that depends on the species of pig. So we have here the first one. This is what they call the campo jamón. Campo means they don't heavily feed them on acorns and nuts. They're younger when they're slaughtered, so they don't get to develop that gaminess and the flavor. And they don't feed them as much acorns, and they don't feed them as much natural foods. And so their meat is a lot fattier, but not as gamey, because they probably supplement their feed. And also the species is about 50 to 75% ibérico Blackfoot. So you don't get that purebred. It's a mongrel. It's a bit of a mongrel pig. Now you have the second one, which is actually what you'll find mostly in bars and restaurants here. This is a mid-range, where this is about 50 to 75% ibérico Blackfoot. This is 100% bellota. Bellota means they've been fed acorns and grass and open pasture. So this is heavily fed on acorns and nuts, olives, whatever grows there, plus the grass. So this one here is aged roughly, average of about 24 months, okay, 24 months. And then we have the Grand Reserva, which is the Mac Daddy of all pigs. The Mac Daddy. Okay, not Mac Daddy. Apparently Mac Daddy's not good. So this is the this is the most exciting one of all. This is 50 months old. 50 months. And if you can look, have a look. The amino acids and the proteins of the pig has started to crystallize within the meat. I mean you get this too, but man, you get so much more here. This is 100% bellota, 100% pata negra, which is the Blackfoot pig, and this is 100% the balls. The balls, the Mac Daddy. Okay, fine. So this is the price difference is this. This is about €4 for a tapa size. This is, I believe, €6 for a tapa size. So the price difference is not huge. And this one here is, they only sell it in a big plate. They don't even sell it in small plate. They're like, no, screw you. It's either you have it or you don't. This is €15 for this plate. Okay, so it's roughly, double the price. But to put in perspective, this is 50 months old from start to finish, 50 months old. And this is €250 per kilogram served up. €250 per kilogram. So this is going to be a little bit of a strange opening to tasting these hams, okay? Jamón means ham. but jamón sounds way more exotic. Jamón. I'm actually gonna review, no, not review, but I'm gonna go through this like I do whiskey because I think it deserves a little bit of that, you know, attention. So first I'm gonna nose them, okay? I'm gonna nose them. It's okay. It's okay. So when I smell this one here, I smell fat, pork fat, oil, a little bit of meatiness, and a little bit of salinity. But it's nothing too out there. Then as soon as I start to smell this one, I get a lot more nuttiness. And as weird as it sounds, you really do get a lot of nuttiness in the smell. It's like pork fat. And you've got to remember, all of this is uncooked. These are raw, 100% raw, cured and raw. And so with this here, I do smell a lot of meatiness and gaminess, like strong porkiness. And I smell like this distinctive earthy fattiness and nuttiness in this as well, like a resin, like an almost slightly medicinal resin on the fat, the oil. But then as soon as you get to this, everything that you get in this is condensed. Like, imagine getting the essence, reducing the essence by 50%, and you get something like this, where you smell it and you get like an extreme porkiness, an extreme saltiness, and then you get that oil, like a distinctive lard. But the lard is, once again, everything in here is amplified. That's just because the weight loss on this during curing is probably almost 50% more than this. So you get everything condensed in flavors. And I'll show you the carcasses, the legs out there. But when they cure this in the dungeon, it grows mold like cheese, and then they scrape that later. So you get all of that aroma of that fustiness and that fungal, that dingy cellar smell. But anyway, I'm going to stop talking, I'm going to start eating, okay? Karen's like, thank the for that. So, very oily. Porky, salty. I mean, so delicious, very oily. A little grassy, but not too gamey at all. Not too gamey at all.
Would you buy that?
Well, I don't know. I mean, let's try this one and see and compare the two. There's a lot of fat in that one. I'm gonna try some meat. Now, when you're eating this, chew it for a good amount of time. Maybe even a minute to 45 seconds to a minute, which for me doesn't come naturally because I eat like a goose, you know. But, you know, like just. Yeah. So you asked me would I buy this versus this. This is €4. This is, I believe, €6. Did I say €6? Yeah. So this is 50% more than this. I would rather buy this than this. I wouldn't buy this again, just because I'd rather eat less and eat the best, right? So out of these two, I would rather go this one because you don't eat that much of it. It is super rich, it's oily. This here is very gamey. It's meaty, it's porky, it is fatty, it is condensed in flavor. It's like all of this flavor that I got here, you cut it by 50% and you condense it to the same mass, right? The same mass, you condense it. It's so intense. But now I'm going to try this one here. I'm going to try something with a little bit of marbling and fat, okay, with some meat. Right, let me just nose them. Yeah, there's a marked difference between the two. Like, this is so much more intense, so much more intense. Holy shit. The difference, when you side by side them like this, just as any food, wine, beer, whiskey.
take it that this is your favorite.
This is absolutely my favorite. I mean, you have to buy this in bigger plates, but I would stick with these two. If you're on a slight budget and you want to eat high volumes of it infrequently, this is the best bang for buck. You can't beat this. This is actually, in a lot of ways, this is actually a lot more palatable, right? I know it sounds weird, but a lot more palatable. It's easier on the palate, it's easier to digest in the mind. This here is so intense that it's like an overload of pork, overload of fat. The nuttiness and the earthiness and the resinness of the acorns, you can taste it in the meat. It's almost got a bit of like a slight hint of pine needles, some nuts, it's just strange. But I'd say best bang for buck, my vote is this, but this is something else. You can't even fathom the differences in taste. But anyway, I'm gonna see what Karen thinks.
So it's my turn to try this, which I don't get as excited as Edward, but I'm also really excited. It's just quite interesting because the first thing you notice about this one is that this has a much oilier sheen on it compared to the others, which I'm going to take a smaller piece. I'm really worried about how much we have here. It doesn't look like a lot, but it's extremely rich. Henry and I found how rich this is, and
she said they were very nice. She said if it's too much for you, you can get a takeaway container and take it home.
Good. She knows. Nice. Actually, I can just so oily. Very good. Not as intense as the other ones we've had. We've had Jamón quite a few times. Even though that's the kind of the cheaper cut, it's still really, really nice. Like if you had that on a charcuterie board or something, no one's going to complain about that. Like it's still really, really good. So I'm going to have the second one. Also very oily. The texture of the meat is so different. And quite sweet. It sounds weird, but there is a big sweetness hit. But it's almost as if the fleshy parts, the non-fatty parts, the meat has kind of a better texture for me.
It's less gelatinous. This is very jelly-like.
For me, that's not gelatinous. For me, that's more kind of chewier. But not chewier as in bad. Like I say, no one is going to complain if you had that on a... I should probably smell them as well, like you did. Very light. It's weird. I get quite a big sweetness hit on that one. Yeah, I'm excited for this one. I'm going to take this piece with a little... Let's see. We haven't had this one yet here, I don't think. Wow.
Intense, yeah?
It definitely has a cheese, like a blue cheese funk to it, which I wasn't expecting because I've never had this before. I can see how Henwood says that this could be too much for some people, because if you don't like blue cheese, you might struggle to eat this. It definitely has that funkiness to it. Must be the aging, the 50 months of curing, because from my understanding is they cover it in salt for X amount of time and then they hang it to dry. There's nothing else that goes on it or... Wow. That is not what I expected it to be at all. Very good, but that's quite a large portion for the two of us. So yeah, but I agree with you. I think this one is probably the most palatable, easiest to eat the nicest one out of the three. This one, I mean, I think this one would be great in food, on sandwiches, or even, like I said, on the charcuterie board. No one's going to complain about that. It's totally fine. Really cool. I love it. I love cured meat, so I'm really happy about this situation. Except, like I say, it is quite rich. So I got a glass of cava, which is a Spanish sparkling wine, to have with it, which I actually think is a good combination, and Henry got a beer. So yeah, this is the first time here in Spain that we've done 3 different types. You get jamón everywhere in all tapas restaurants or all restaurants, but you can't necessarily get different quality ones. So the opportunity to have them and compare them against each other is not as easily found, I guess. Yeah, cool experience. I rate it. So as you can see, we demolished it. It was very difficult, like, man, I'm still struggling at the thought of what we had to go through to finish those plates. I'm kidding. It was actually easier than I thought it would be way too rich to eat just like that, as much as we did. But, you know, Henwood and I are pigs, so we ate the pig pretty easily. But yeah, that is it for our jamón video. Hope you enjoyed it, and subscribe to see more of our food adventures.